The number one question that I get by far is, hey, Ray, this project launcher is great. It works great for starting a new project, but what about my existing one, the one that I've been working on for 8 months to a year, and it's a mess? And I get it. You jumped into Lovable or Replit or Anti-Gravity or something, and you've been working on this project. It looked great. You got excited because it looked like a working app, and then after a while, it started getting messy. And you're like, I don't even know how this should be organized. It's a mess. But the thing that I've realized, from helping a half a dozen people in my cohort with this specific scenario, that this mess isn't necessarily garbage. I mean, inside that code is buried some gold nuggets, working code, decisions that you've made, lessons that you've already paid for. There are people that had this mess, and then we brought it into this architect builder method, which gets it organized, gets it disciplined, it gets you on the software engineering path, doing it the right way, and you finally get it moving. And so the answer to that number one question is no, you don't have to start over. You can use this project launcher to take your messy project and get it organized and get it in this architect builder method without losing anything. And to prove it, I'm going to take one of my old projects that was not in the architect builder method. Well, these are a handful of projects that go back all the way back to December 2024. And I'll take this LSR quote one, for example. It's a real app, but it just got messy. A lot of markdown files. I mean, I did my best to keep it documented and organized. I still applied my computer science discipline way back from 1990, 1991, but it's not like I want it to be. The code is in here, but it's just I don't like the way this is organized, and it can be better. And so we will take this one, and I'll go into the project launcher. And again, we'll use this connect your project tab in here. And then it's going to ask me to connect the project folder. And so I'm going to navigate to that LSR quote folder, and I'm going to select it. And it's going to ask for my permission to allow that connection. It's scanning it, and it's saying, hey, this is what we read, 112 files, 41 folders, busiest folders, so on and so forth. But really, all we're doing right now is we want to set up this architect method right here. So I'm going to hit that. It's going to save the changes. And so specifically, if you look at the folder schema, it threw in, I don't know if you can see this or not, but this folder right there, it threw in the 120x LSR quote, all the architect builder schema embedded within your code. And that's going to help us get organized because it's going to have all the agents, all the methodology, all the personalities, all the instructions and discipline to start organizing your current project without damaging anything. It's not going to overwrite your code. It's not going to do anything. In fact, inside this folder, there's no source place for coding, and it's specifically instructed to make sure it writes to the normal places it's been writing the code, in this case on the back end and on the front end, right, in this case. So now that we have that in there, if we look at the project launcher, you can see there's some specific instructions. Now you want to run onboarding, and onboarding is nothing more than an architect with just a slightly different role, but is still an architect nonetheless. It's going to be your greatest asset. As in, if you're starting a new project doing this, your architect is your greatest asset, your greatest tool to help you discover, brainstorm, and keep your project on track, right? And your builder is the one that's going to be executing code based on discipline, designs, and instructions that come from the architect. But if you notice right here, it says in Claude Code, you want to run this 120x.onboard. In Codex, you want to run similar. It's called $120x onboard, which will run those skills, and those agents will activate that schema and that folder structure that you see and start acting like an architect. I'm going to do this in Claude Code. If you open up Claude Code on your desktop, you could run this command down here. If you had it in Codex, you would run this $120x onboard, and so on and so forth. But I'm going to use a graphical interface that's connected to both to my Claude Code and my Codex, and I'm really a fan of it. Again, this is not a commercial for them. This is free. I don't get anything from NimbleList, but it's a tool that I've been using here over the last week, and I really enjoy it. And I think if you're into coding, it's probably one of the best graphical interfaces to help you do this coding. So I'm going to open up NimbleList here. It's going to ask me to open a folder, and I'm going to connect it to that LSR quote folder that we were just working with. So we'll open up that one. It's going to ask me a question, do I want to use standard mode or developer mode? And I'm going to be focused on developer mode since it's a little more, give me all the tools. If you're not comfortable with all that and it looks, the work trees and everything, the get work trees look a little intimidating, you can always start in standard mode. When we get started, I'm going to do allow all. And so you've got a couple views in here. You can look at the folder schema over here, which is kind of nice because you can read the markdown documents. Again, if you click here, you can look at all of your markdown documents that are already within your folder structure. Just a nice way to read it. Here's that folder right here that we just got thrown into the project. And you can see specifically the planning side, the architect packs that it's going to write. So I'm going to start a new session. And in this new session, we're going to make sure, since I'm going to use Claude Code, I could use Codex within here, but I'm going to use Claude Code and I'm going to use the 120x onboard command. I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to paste this down here in the input. It's recognizing it, and I'm going to hit enter. And what it's going to do, it's reading every file in this mess, right? It's building an inventory, what exists, what's duplicated, what looks dead, what the project actually does versus what I probably intended to do it when I started this last year. Think of it like a building inspector walking through a half-finished house with the clipboard out before anyone touches a wall, right? So it's reading everything here. And second, this is the part that the launcher makes possible. It's not inspecting against its own opinion. It's inspecting against the architect builder method that is in this folder structure here, right? The architect builder method is implanted in this folder that we put into the project. So that's why it's going to do it every single time. The planning folders, the state files, the decisions, all that kind of stuff, all that's going to be put into here so the agent isn't guessing what organized means. The organization comes from this folder structure that was inserted into here. And that's the difference, guys, what we're trying to talk about. You could open up Claude Code and you could do the same thing, or Codex, and you could say, hey, go examine my code structure. And it would, and clean this up, and it would invent a structure. You could do that. Its own opinion, different every time. And the next session would forget what it did if you did it for the next project that you had. So, but the launcher gives it the architect builder structure. That's the key. It's the same one every time, written into those files, so that next session reads, you know, this is why it works, and so please organize my code doesn't, right? So there's discipline to it. Okay, so notice it stopped. And it says, I have the thorough picture, and it says what this is. This is a mobile web app for this company used to build construction estimates on their phone in the field. What shape it's in, it's real, it's working, actively used. This isn't a prototype, it's been shipped and demoed, so on and so forth. The bones are solid, which is good. The messy parts are honest and known. There's almost no automated testing, right? Some very large files, yep, which usually happens when you code this way, including 2 enormous data files, right, which was the inventory. And it always bothered me of how big those files were. And what stands out, you've got a lot of scattered planning history. 24 loose handoff plan documents at the root, plus older. So I'm not starting blind. The thing I'd watch most, the money math, the margins, has been repeated field bugs and has 0 tests protecting it. So look, an honest assessment. How powerful is this architect builder to take your mess and tell you exactly what's wrong and how to fix it? Some questions. Does my read project match yours? Yes, it does. What should this first sprint focus on? Safety net, money math. So yeah, I'm going to focus on that. Anything I must absolutely not touch? Careful, it's live. And then I'll submit. So again, do you see the power of this onboarding agent, which is really the architect? How it can be your greatest asset and get you to the point where you can start organizing this and start getting a comfort level for you, right? And once you get it going down in this path, you can just continue your new sessions, architect builder, just like you did with any other normal architect builder project. You can also go back here to the project launcher, and on mission control, you can connect your project folder once it's set up, and you can see it'll give you a visual of what to do and what's next. So if there's any questions about what you're supposed to do next with your project, it's gonna, once it updates here, it's gonna give you an architect briefing, tell you where it's at. You can look at your folders in here as well. You can read all your documents, your accounts, your sprints, acceptance, all this kind of stuff. You can read it here just like you could in this graphical interface here. But at least the advantage of putting in the project launcher, it's going to tell you, hey, this is what you should probably do next. You can also do the how-to. There's always a method for running this. Like once you get this organized within your project, you can still run this normal process, architect builder, until your project is done. So I'm hoping you're seeing the advantage. You know, we've made a lot of improvements to the project launcher, and then one of them is this continue existing project. It's easier than ever. It's just connect that project, get that folder schema inserted into your folders, and now you've got that architect builder method implanted into your messy code, and you can start going down that path to get it organized. I can't tell you how many times we've done this inside this group, taken an absolute mess, extracted the gold, and got you going down that path. And notice when it's complete here, after I answered these questions, it said, I surveyed your project read-only, wrote the map entirely inside. Here's the files that it wrote to, wrote domain, file inventory, risk, questions, decisions, architecture. And again, you can check some of these to see what they wrote there, like decisions. I mean, look right there. Look how this organization is helping. It's already all the decisions that were made. Here's the domain, what this is about, who the client is, who we're making this for, the inventory, intake, questions, right? Risks that are involved. Already you can start to see just from this one pass, it's already starting to document and get that historical knowledge set and get you organized well along the way. Now notice it didn't add anything new or change any of the files outside of this folder that we inserted with the architect builder, right? There's still things that we can do. And even if you look at the instructions that said here, what I found in one breath, a real live field whose money math is most valuable and the most fragile part of my code and has 0 automated tests, which is exactly where the field bugs keep landing. In the recommended first sprint, it's recommending that we do a test-only safety net around the price. Again, so you can already see how this architect is such an asset to help you start getting organized. Now, maybe I don't want to work on the test or safety net, but that's the question that I answered, that yeah, I do want to work on this. But either way, we can now start, I can start, like I did the onboarding here, I could start a new session outside of this onboarding, and I can type in that command 120x architect that we have in here. And now we're on the way to doing the architect builder method. It's going to read those onboarding files that architect with the onboarding role did. It's reading, bringing itself up to speed. It knows everything that is within the project. I could sit there and do the same thing if I could open up Codex, and I could move to that folder, and we'll go to LSR quote, open it up. Same thing, I can do 120x architect. It doesn't matter what tool I'm using. Like I've started one in here on Codex. It's portable, it's tool agnostic. Now that you've got that method in there, you can go to anti-gravity, you can go to cursor, you can go to wherever, and you can start running these commands and these codes and start your architect builder conversation. That architect builder method inside the project launcher, and what you're paying for is that schema and that organization and that visibility. It's going up in price. It's $149. That founding price is ending on July 24th. So as of this recording, which is July 19th, it's going up to $197 on July 24th. So this is your chance to get in if you want to get it for lifetime access, no other upsell fees, just a one-time fee. You'll get, as it gets updated, you'll get all the updates for free. $197, that goes up to the price on the July 24th. So if you got any questions, if you got a project you want me to maybe demo in one of these videos to show you how you can take a mess and organize it, be happy to do that. Just send me an email at ray@120x.ai, and I'd be more than happy to look at it, and maybe together we can videotape it and I can show you how you can take your mess and get it clean. See you next time.